Mechaber. Again, good morning, this is Rabbi Shlomo First here at Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi. Here we're learning in our second shir, Berura, Orachayim, Sivin, Kuf, Zayin. A person who's Mesupik, if he is down or not, what should he do? Yisrael, you have to read a bit. Start with the Mechaber, and then I'll tell you where to stop, and then we'll go to the Berura. Go ahead.
From the beginning?
Yes.
Im hu Mesupik im Hispalel. El Sofet Evidav. So what's it then? Choizer Mispalel. Goes back and he has to daven. Eine Tzorch LeChadesh Shum Davar. Doesn't have to add anything new.
So according to Mechaber, it's Pasha. The person has some doubt, whatever doubt it is. He has some question as to whether he would daven either Shachris or Mincha or Myrin, and he's not able to determine definitively that he did or not. So he's obligated to go and daven again, and he doesn't even have to mechadish anything. He can say a straight, basic Shemon Esrei straight from beginning to end. Okay, so look.
Aber im Berura Hispalel. If it's clear to him that he davened.
Well, I'm sorry, Rabbi. I was just looking this over because we said yesterday. About in Berura, if he feels like he davened, because the first part was if he's not sure. What is the second part in Berura?
Right. So I
because this is what caused the argument. That's
right.
The whole thing.
The first part is talking about a person
He's not sure for sure. That's it.
He goes back and he doesn't have to.
That's right.
Now, let's say he knows definitely he had prayed, and now we're talking about he wants to do a nadava. Then he's going to have to.
So this has nothing to do with the first, like we said yesterday.
Apparently, yes.
So in Berura, if he davened and he wants to daven again. So what's the question compared to Dalit that he has to be something new? I mean, why would there be a because after we spoke yesterday and we said the division should be a new thing over here. So that I've been thinking this is if it's Mesupik, okay, fine. But if he already knows that he davens wants to do it, so what would be the difference between this part and what we were saying in number 4?
Right.
I wrote said
I think really it's connected. He's just he's preempting. He's jumping ahead, right? Meaning, since we talked about a person who's in doubt, so we'll tell him what he has to do when he's in doubt. If he's clear that he davened, right, and right, he wants to daven, right, then he must go ahead and mechadish something, as we'll see in Sif Dalet.
So basically, this part and Sif Dalet is the same thing.
I would think so, according to the pashtus of the thing. That seems it's written
because it doesn't. It's not making it. It's in the same. If we have a big machlokes as we saw here in the Mishna Berura, the Ber Halacha, and it's all because we're saying the first part is like the second part, which is not. Because the first time you're not sure you have to daven. The second part you're kind of sure, but you still have to have something new, which is the same as the later on.
Right. Let's look at another Berura again. I'm going on the first one. Is it doubtful whether he prayed or not? Chozer is parlor. He has to go back and pray.
Right.
Look at the Berura, the next, the Chozer is parlor.
Okay.
Yeah. So read that Berura for us. You see the Berura, Chozer Mispalel in the middle of the Berura?
Chozer Mispalel. I am a Pri Magadim. Shekasov. As you look into the Pri Magadim, the writes to the Das HaRashba, the Tshuva. According to the Das HaRashba in his answer, Choy v'lo v'lach Chozer u'Mispalel u'Leschanois. Is it at the last opponent to go back and daven with his correspondence? What?
So again, if he's Mesupik, you take a look at the Pri Magadim that writes, according to the Rashba, he's obligated to go back and to daven and nechasnos, right? To make that conditional statement as to whether if he did, he's doing it as a nadav, and if he didn't, he's doing it as the chiyuv, right? Uladas chidushav a chiyuv alav. Go ahead.
Ein chiyuv alav. Ein chiyuv alav. Rak t'nachon l'achal. Only if it's Only if it's proper for him
Right.
to go
Well,
there.
das chidushav ein chiyuv alav. According to the Kiddush here, it seems that he's not obligated to. Rather, it's nachon lachzor. The question is he obligated to do it, or is it proper that he does it? Right?
Proper. The halavai shistale alav kol yom. Because halavai means like beard.
If only, meaning, if only a person would pray, I mean, halavai, if only a person would pray the whole day long.
Sefer b'mama Mordechai. Sefer Mordechai.
Very Mordechai.
Yeah.
Hochiach,
Hokiach, Divat Shuva Gufa.
the ain't chayvul of it, he has no obligation. Raksha Kasav Rashba, well, what did the Rashba write? He came into Chazal, Shuhu, Chazal allowed you to go back and daven. The ain't bo mishum shem shemayim levatala, meaning going back.
Tefillah.
Yeah, right. Ain't mishum shem shemayim
Levatala, sorry, I
levatala.
skipped on.
That's what you were asking. What about brachas levatala? If you daven already, wow, maybe it's brachas levatala. He says no. Since you're mesupik, there's not any shem shemayim levatala. In Eina Chosa, Harihu, Kimara, Ba'atzu, Sheina Chosa, Tequila is another, because on the other hand, if he's not going to daven, it looks as if he doesn't care about davening, right? Therefore, Tzorach Lakzor, who is Nadev, therefore he has to go back and do a Nadava, a Tfilas Nadava. Gam Hasir Me'elav Kushas Pri Chodesh, Ayin Sham, Berura.
Wait. He's saying here that, he's saying here, Kem'arib Ato She'en Achosh V'Tfilah, V'lachin Tzarech Nadev. Nadev meaning that he doesn't have to add something new?
Nadev apparently means he has to add something new.
But that's how we learned on top.
I know.
Okay. You have homework, rather.
So it's a machlokas?
Yes, there's a machlokas. When he's mesupik and he's going back and when he's mesupik and he's going to now daven.
Well, we're mesupik in both times. There's one time we're more mesupik than the other. Right? The first part, he's really not sure. Something happened. He normally davens at 2 o'clock, and he doesn't know if he went to the 2 o'clock minyan, right? That's why I stopped davening early mincha, because sometimes I was doing it. I would go to shul, say I davened, then I didn't daven. So now I have my makom kavua Baruch Hashem, and that's where I daven my mincha mars as much as I can, right? But the other thing is, I think I davened. I'm not sure. It's more of there was a good chance I davened, or I wanted. Man, you know what? I'm just going to do another one. So in that case, then you have the situation of the nedava. The thing I'm not sure for sure, no nedava. But here, the bottom seems to be saying either case, you have to do something nedava.
Okay. Look at the next parallel, the short one. That's what we said at the beginning.
Right.
In this case, he doesn't have to mechadesh anything, but you go just a short line. Go ahead. Bain.
Bain em mitpalel ata b'yachid or b'tzibur, whether he davens now privately or in a tzibur, in a minyan. Gam en nafka mina v'zeh bain im pam rishon haya b'yachid or b'tzibur. It also makes no difference if it was in pam rishon. It was the first time he was alone or he was with tzibur.
He knew he was admiring, but for some reason he can't remember if he davened.
Right.
But he knew he was in the shul.
So it's different than the one above it. This one says ain't tzarech HaKodesh, and the other one says, well.
Okay, we're going to have to try and work this out. All right, let's go back to the Mishna Berura.
In the choser?
Yeah, go ahead.
Continue?
Yeah, specifically, cut and give on the
When the choser, the spalel, the tfilas connected tamidim tikna. Tefillah is corresponding to the tamidim and the fixed. Avec Machir Shnei Tamidim Hashem Chayva. Some people two total offerings in the same for obligation.
So you see, there's a problem here, right? He's explained how this is maybe maybe trying to understand what the Machaber meant when he had this extra line, which seems to be a preface to Sif Dalet, right? He said, "I'll be boring all this follow, Eina Chozos follow below Kiddush." It's clear to him, the daven, you should not daven again without any new thing.
So that's what we said originally, that there's two separate situations in the same one.
Exactly.
The second situation is the same as Dalet, and this one, the first one is, it doesn't remember at all. Once you have, I guess if you don't remember at all, you're in one sense, but if you have kind of a doubt, then you seem, it seems to me, because there's three situations. There's A, which we said he doesn't remember. B, there's like kind of a doubt on which way you are, like, you know, and then there's D, that you just want to do an Adava, you want to pray the Dava.
Out of the blue.
Out of the blue, you want to do an
Out of the blue wants to make it
Adava. So A, you don't do no Kiddush. B, because you're like so much yes and no, you would have to do it, and B, for sure you have to make it.
Right.
That's what it seems to be like three different situations.
Right. And
will come in.
And now, what's the problem? This was telling us now in Sivkat. What's the problem with the second situation, where you did daven, right?
You have to do something. You ain't no choser, because you only have certain amount of tefillos you can do.
Right.
So the only way to do it, and you'll be about tosef if you do it.
Exactly.
The only way you're going to do it, if you add something new, then you're away from this problem.
Right. You see, looking in Sivkat Gimel, like this, it says Eina Chazer. Right. It says
Yeah.
He says, why can't he go back and daven? Meaning, we just got through saying that halavai, a person would daven all day long.
Mm-hmm.
So let me daven all day long. One Shmon Esrei after another, just recycle, yeah? Recycle constantly. No. Why? The tefillos keneged tamidim, that the prayers are corresponding to the korbanos, the offerings that were made in the Beis Hamikdash. There's one in the morning and one in the late afternoon. Right? So, hayu makrivin shnei tamidim l'shem choiva, that they would bring two offerings for their obligation. She'osser, and only two. Why? Because if you added another and you did another one, osser mishum ba'al tova. There's a separate prohibition in the Torah not to add on to the words of the Torah. Classically, it's like by the tefillin, right? By the tefillin you have 4 parshas, right? Or in the Rosh you have 4 compartments. You want to add another compartment, 5 compartments, right? By tzitzis, right? You have 4 corners, right? You want to add a 5th corner and put on 5 tzitzis. That's Baal Tosef. That's adding on to the Torah. The Torah said 4, it means 4. Right? Even to detract. Al Tigra, don't detract. You can't detract from it. You can't have 3. Right? You can't have 3 parshas. Right? So if you're going to go and add another prayer service, that's going to be a difficulty of Baal Tosef. You're adding on more beyond what the Torah obligated you. Right? So therefore you can't do that unless you're mechadish something. Right? Right? Unless you're mechadish something. Feel is follow. So now let's continue. He's getting now. What's this whole point about the tzibur? He's getting into the congregational setting here.
And even if he davened the first time privately, now he wants to daven the tzibur. In other words, he was home, he davened mincha, then he decided he wants to daven again, and he went to shul, he wants to daven a second time. But yeah, I feel even though it's this, it's usher.
Right.
Because you can't add.
Right. Even though you're apparently upgrading this to the tefillah b'tzibur, which is that's an enhanced prayer.
Right.
Nevertheless, your obligation you had fulfilled. You don't go ahead and do it now without a chiddush.
But he can if he adds something new.
Yes.
That's
like in the daven.
That's a daven now.
That's right. It's not like a tamid, which is obligatory.
Right.
It's in the daven, which is voluntary.
And he prays as a nedava, as an offering. Perush dafka min nedava, only if he's doing it as an offering. Aval l'shem chova afilu b'chidush asur. But if he wants to daven a second time because he feels obligated, that's asur to do. V'hav deva'inan chidush min davar, and that's why we do a chidush with. That's what the chidush. It's something new with nedava. The al yedei chidush minkar mitoch hashitfilato hi l'shem tachanunim v'lo b'shem chova. Because if by adding something new, his tefillah becomes tachanun and not obligatory.
Right, it's a
supplication and not obligatory.
Right.
ובלא חידוש מחזד כמין או שעושה לשם חובה. And if he doesn't add something new, it seems like he's doing it for an obligation. ועיין בבית יוסף שבאר דעת הטור, that he explained, the בית יוסף explained the tour, והוא הדין אם מתפלל תפילה שלא בתורת חובה. This is the din if he prays and not according to the obligation. V'gam hu hikaven ba l'shum davar, and he thought about it should be like an offering. V'hu mechadesh ba, and he had something new. The shapir dam, that's enough. The al yedei achidush min kar shehi l'shem tachanun, because adding something new it becomes a supplication. V'ayin be'vur alach and si be'vur alacha.
Okay.
So we're coming now that we did this. We should have done this in the beginning. We came to this. There's really three different things we're talking, including in this one. There's so far two different things.
Right.
There's a person who doesn't remember.
Good.
Then there's the second one is the person who davens, but now he wants to do a secondary prayer.
Good.
And he wants to do it for chova. It seems that that's where the problem is. The secondary as chova, he's not allowed to do his obligation. But he can do it as an nedava, as an offering.
Good.
And that seems to be explaining the second part of this seif. Now it makes perfect sense because he does remember, and that's why the Mishnah explains also, which the Mishnah made it easier, is that he davened at home privately, his chova. Now he goes to shul. They're davening in shul. Says, you know what, I want to daven again.
Yes.
So he can't do that because once he passes chova, so we learned it. So what he can do to be with the shul is if he can have the kavana of making a nedava, an offering through the whole mincha, or whatever the other midah, then he can do it.
Nice.
See, we come to turn.
Coming to getting clarity.
Took us 4 days. Took us 4 days, but we got it.
Okay. Now that brings us to Sifkat Mehei, right?
With Tfilat Musaf.
Because then
She'enot bindava, that he can't do it bindava. Rotzel Omar, this means Afilu shel Rosh Chodesh ve'Chol HaMoed, even Rosh Chodesh ve'Chol HaMoed, Kivan she'omer Musaf mikil chatam. Because the wording is, and you're doing the Musaf according to the halacha. Ve'Musaf and Eman Karevim Ela Mishel Tzibur ve'Ein Yachid Yachol Nidava.
See, this is now the whole idea of tzibur is coming to the fore a little bit. What's the difference between yachid and tzibur? When you're doing it privately, obviously your prayer is only a private prayer. When if you're davening with tzibur, you might think that has to do maybe something with the public prayers. In which case, that's going to approach maybe something like a musaf, which a musaf is absolutely completely a public prayer.
Right. Ve'ayin ba'achparin shekart l'si da'achron dabrot l'fi zeh b'tfilat musaf, according to this, according to tfilat musaf, ve'hu adim b'shabbat v'yom tov b'chol tfilat, and this is the same thing with Shabbat, Yom Tov, and any tfilat as I guess musaf. Im yistapek im yipalu otam eino yachol lavzul pavazim. If he's not sure, he can't go back. De'ared sarich lehat, no, because he has to, what's it, no?
To make a conditional
To make a condition. In musaf, he cannot make a condition. And the command, kaf chaf dalet sif aleph yoravacha.
He has to stipulate, right?
Stipulate. You can't stipulate on
a musaf. That's right.
Okay. Shabbat Yom Tov with Kalal.
Shabbos Yom Tov.
You can do it.
Aim is about tefillas nedavar. There's absolutely no opportunity for tefillas nedavar on Shabbos or Yom Tov. Why is that? Because on Shabbos and Yom Tov you're not allowed to make voluntary or promissory offerings. You can't bring them, so therefore you cannot add. Very good.
But even if he wants to add something to it.
Let's see, let's review the Mechanic.
Okay, yes, okay. If he started to daven, with the understand that he didn't daven, and then all of a sudden he remembered. He stops in the middle of bracha, afilu yachol lechadish badav, even if you can add something new. Because I guess because you didn't start to find out.
Right, because again, you remember you had to make the stipulation.
That's right.
And without the stipulation, you can't daven and tefillas nedavim.
No, we may not be talking about the second situation, maybe the first situation.
Even the first situation.
He didn't start. In the second one that he did, he still has to stop. We're going to find out why.
Because let's say he thought he had daven. He thought he did not daven. So he started davening like regular. He says, realize, I daven minka gedolah, whatever daven minka katana gets now. So stop. Well, why can't I just say, well, I'll turn this into tefillas nedava?
Because it didn't start that way, I guess.
You have to have that stipulation before any tefillas nedava has to have the stipulation beforehand. If it doesn't have it beforehand, we can't continue to daven unless you had the stipulation originally. Right, Yisrael?
Yes, yeah, it's a voluntary.
Voluntary, right. It's voluntary.
Afilu yachol, the tefillat haya mistama divided l'shimcha. Because when he started, he thought he was obligatory to say it. That's it. Sha'arei hayasover shalei paladam, because he was sure he didn't daven. The Romane Bachidus didn't put anything new. Ukach afilu im yirtze ata legamar l'shem nidav Romane. And now that he wants to finish it with the Nafshi, he can't. Kevan shekvar yitchel ba l'shem kod, because he started with an obligation. Wow. This just to learn this, how the korbanos affect our tefillah, it was worth all this time. Okay. This is like unbelievable, because you can't bring a korban that's half and half.
Right. Because you have basic korbanos. You have like the oila,
right,
which is an obligated, like obligatory. Chat is obligatory. Shlomim not, right? So tamidim is obligatory. So you can't switch, right? Because it's coming. The whole reason you bring it is different. Because he thought he didn't daven. But if he so this is the second case. But if he was not sure if he davened not, and he started with that night, like Besifka base, the niskar, the emsa shifa. And remember in the middle that he started. Yesh lomar the ain't tzarech chiddush. He doesn't need a chiddush. The gomer kach l'shem nedav, and he can continue and finish it b'shem nedav because that's he made that tonight. V'cheman she'itchiv mitchilat kehogen adat desveka, and because he started beginning like he's supposed to, because he was a suffix. The suffix have a chiddush, and the suffix needs a chiddush. Two ain't tzarech chiddush. This one doesn't need a chiddush. Well, after you've had it, you don't have to have a HaKodesh. You don't have to have anything new now.
I didn't understand this part.
Okay, let's back up.
The kevan she'itchiv mitchilat kehogen, because he started like he's supposed to.
Right. Yes, he began to do it. He understood that he had an obligation. He started the shame for the sake of his regular obligation. Shachas mitzvah myra.
Right.
Straight. The Yevsh, go ahead.
Adata desveka, and in his mind it was a suffix. The suffix heavy kechiddush, and suffix he has to start with a chiddush. About two ain't tzarech chiddush, but here it doesn't need a chiddush. It's going back and forth. I'm missing something.
Again. Okay, so let's go again. Siv Zayin begins as follows, meaning if he was starting off and he thought that he didn't daven, and then in the middle of his prayers he realized he did in fact daven. He's got to stop on a dime right in the middle, right?
Okay.
Now, even in the middle of a bracha, right? Even if you can mechanish something, he's got to stop. Finished. Made a big mistake. Why? Why? Mishna says the tchilas tchiloso hayim stam devada lo shem kol. He did it not because he did it because he was doing it l'shem choy. No.
Right.
He saw it. He thought that he didn't daven. Right now.
So the first part we agree.
That's no problem. Mikra Katana. He forgot all about it. Right. Mikra Gedolah, and now he's done reading. It's over. There was a bris this the whole thing. I didn't. What I do? Stop. Lo mani chiddush. You can't make a chiddush now. It came. The shame the dove. You can't even switch now and say, well, I'm turning it into now into another dove. Lo mahani. Came shekfor hitkil bar l'shem chayvi. Began right now as a chayv. The Yerushalyim korban shechetzel choyver chetzel nadava. The kudah. Now, the chol zeh. This is all talking about when Shehitil Adas Shalom Nispal. He had clear knowledge that he did not daven. Let's say on the case he was Mesupik, right? Let's say I didn't.
Number 2. Okay.
I don't remember. Meaning, what he's going to realize in the middle, he's going to realize that he did daven. Meaning,
Right.
in a case where with Yao, the guy started off davening. I don't know if I daven, so what do I have to do? Like the Chaber told me, daven in the dugout tonight, right? So now what happens if he's in the middle of his tefillas suffix, because he didn't know if he davened or not, and he realized in fact he did daven. What's he supposed to do then?
Now you know you daven, you stop what you're doing.
Oh, so the Mishna says not exactly that way. Why not? It says, Avu im hayes suffix im ispalo, is heal b'tanai, kiniskala el b'siv kadar beis, meaning if he was in doubt as to whether he davened another, and he began to daven like he should have with it tonight, a stipulation,
right. Okay.
like we said in Siv base, and nizkar be'emsa tefillah sheish, and now he remembered in the middle of his tefillah that he did daven.
Right.
Did he take on the new obligation?
Yeah, because he wasn't sure.
So he has to finish.
But there's something in the bottom.
Read what? Yesh, and you see from the Lashon, Yesh Loma, there is to say, he doesn't say, Yesh Loma, the Ein Surah Chidush. There's to say that he doesn't have to Mechadish, right? Because
that's what I understand why. Because the second part here is saying that he was specific, that he did start with it. Because he already started with the Chiddush?
Well, remember, if he started at the beginning with the Tani, he doesn't have to Mechadish. He started off Mesupik, but he made it tonight.
Right.
He doesn't have to Mechadish anything.
He started right, and he doesn't have to. That's right. He doesn't have to do anything.
Now, the way he started off. Now he realizes he did daven. So now, do you have to add a Chiddush now?
You can't now.
Let's see what he says. Let's see. He says, Yeshom the Ein Surah Chiddush. There is to say that he doesn't have to Mechadish anything. We're Gomer Kach l'shem the Davar, and he goes straight.
Oh wow! This is not what we learned till now.
Yeah.
So he's saying here that a guy thought he davened, so he started without a Chiddush.
He didn't have to Mechadish anything.
Not because he did. In the middle, he realizes, and he says, "Okay, I'm making a Nedava from here on."
Right.
But I thought we said we have to do that from the beginning.
Well, he did, because there he made it on tonight, right? So now that he realizes in fact he did daven, right? So now can he now switch in the middle of his prayer to make it a pure nadava?
So there's a question here.
If it's a pure nadava, then if it's a pure nadava, right? He should be mechuyev to mechadish, right?
But he didn't start as that.
No, he started with on tonight. He started on tonight.
Right.
Right? Maybe it's this, maybe it's that.
And if he started on tonight, then he has to have a Chiddush.
Well,
if he started on tonight, we said he has to have a Chiddush. That's what we said before.
The Mechaber said, Bli Shum Chiddush. Remember what the Mechaber said
tonight?
at the beginning? What did he say? The person's Mesupik, right? Again, Imu Mesupik V'Spalel,
That's right. 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 The Bari law is the second time.
Yeah, leave the Bari. Now, this fellow started off, there was no Chiddush necessary because he was Mesupik. He was davening out tonight, stipulations, and now he realized
he
davened.
And he continues with Shem Nedava.
Yeah. Yesh Loma the Ein Surah Chiddush. We Gomer Kach l'shem Nedava. A Nedava without a Chiddush. Right? The Kavan Shitchil Behitchil Kachoygim Nadaita the suffix, since he began appropriately on the intention that he was davening because of his doubt, with suffix Havi Chiddush. This is what the Mishnah began, that the suffix itself is a Chiddush. The fact that he began davening in a situation of suffix, and he was davening with that in mind, that itself was the Chiddush he was necessary. Su Ein Surah Chiddush. Now, furthermore, he doesn't have to make any Chiddush. Ukelavush mashma shegam laval yidei Chiddush. The lavush is mashma that he should finish with a Chiddush.
Wow.
The Evshu hu yidei tzad yotzutov. That it's possible that that's better to do it. Meaning in fact, you're not going to lose anything.
You don't stop in the middle.
Don't stop in that. Definitely not. No stopping in the middle.
But we learned that if you started, we learned before.
B'shem chayiv. If you started davening b'shem chayiv.
Right.
Right.
B'shem chayiv because you're not sure.
Right.
Okay, but now, but I thought this. B'Shem Chov he started, and he doesn't have a Chiddush. In the middle, he remembers that he davened. So he has to stop. Here, there's a different situation. This is a situation where he not sure. He remembered in the middle, but because he wasn't sure, says, if, he can continue. So this is like two separate situations here.
We'll go over it again tomorrow.
Okay.
Mitzvah Shem.
Sorry,
No, it's good, it's good. Bye, Mitzvah Shem.